Good afternoon. My name is Londa Pringle. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Chester County Sheriff's Office. Today we are here to discuss the incident that occurred at the Chester Park Complex today. Today we have speaking Sheriff Max Dorsey of the Chester County Sheriff's Office and Interim Superintendent Tammy Snipes of the Chester County School District. Tammy Snipes will only be answering questions regarding the school. The sheriff will be making a full statement regarding the incident on the law enforcement side. We have a few school resource officers standing up here with us. These individuals were directly involved in the response of the incident. They will not be taking any questions. Again, we'll be taking brief questions towards the end. Thank you. Sheriff Max Dorsey.
When faced with danger, the good guys ran towards the threat and saved lives today. My name is Max Dorsey. I'm the sheriff here in Chester County, and I'm here to talk to you about an incident that occurred shortly after noon today at the Chester Park School of Arts here just below our building where we stand today. Shortly after noon, there was a report of a vehicle that had wrecked into the woods near the complex. Someone, an employee of the school complex, notified through the radio the various entities at the school, and that initiated a response and a lockdown protocol. The SROs, which we have SROs at every school in Chester County, immediately responded, and not just the ones that were assigned to that building, SROs that are assigned to other buildings in the area, they also responded. What happened was this individual, there was a wreck over near the woods. An individual approached the complex building, gained access into the playground area, and then after a few minutes or a few seconds in that playground area, they made entry through a glass window using their head. They entered with busted glass, a classroom, and they took a young child, exited that window, and were engaged by law enforcement there in the playground. Now, once they entered the classroom, there were 3 adult teachers in the classroom. They engaged with the individual. One of the teachers actually fought with that person, but that person was able to leave the room, enter the playground area, which is still a confined space. At that point, multiple SROs engaged with that individual. He was tased. The child was removed from his grasp and was provided medical care immediately. He was placed under arrest, and he, after being taken to the hospital to be checked out, he's now at our detention center. As you can tell from the press release earlier, he's being charged with multiple serious charges: assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature, burglary, second-degree violent, and most significantly, kidnapping. You know, in my 30 years of law enforcement, I could have never imagined something like this would be happening on Halloween in our wonderful town, in a secure facility. And I'll just tell you that building is secured. Everybody was where they were supposed to be, behind a glass window, a locked door in the classroom. And someone who had every intention of going into that classroom, he made entry into it. This is a part of a bigger thing. We've been training for these incidents for a long time in law enforcement. This was a priority of mine when I became sheriff here 6 years ago. Not just to have a robust SRO staff in all of these schools, but to also be able to have a response when something bad like this were to happen. And that happened today. We've been practicing this since I've been here. We have coordinated efforts with every public safety entity in Chester County and the surrounding counties, state and local law enforcement. I got to thank our Chester Emergency Management Division, Ed Darby and his staff, because he's really the unit that leads a lot of that training. But what we've trained for the past 5 or 6 years, it went into place today and it worked. There are some minor injuries. There is a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress that was put out there on staff, teachers, students, parents, the community, and we recognize that. But if there's any good from this, I think it is our community expects us to respond appropriately with great force, and that happened today. When there was a threat, we met that threat, we ran towards that. And I'm very proud of these men and women who are up here standing before you today. There was a physical altercation, and the individuals that are standing up here did that. They were involved in a physical altercation, and it ultimately led to a tasing. We train for these events all the time, and I told you they're organized by Ed Darby and his staff at Emergency Management, so I want to thank him. You know, you respond how you train, and I'm just so thankful and incredibly proud of the men and women of this county in the public safety arena. It's not just the sheriff's office. A lot of people train for this. We have to have the cooperation of the school district, and I would say we rank up there with some of the best on how to respond to these situations. That does not mean it is all rainbows and unicorns. It is very stressful, it's very chaotic, and I think I used the comment today, you can have the best plan in the world until you get hit in the mouth. And that's sort of kind of how we felt today, but when you're in the weeds, you feel like, oh man, this is so chaotic, what's happening? But when you take a step back, everything that you train for, it happened. So there are a lot of people I want to thank. I want to thank our Chester EMS, who they were right there as soon as we arrived, providing whatever medical assistance we needed. The South Carolina Highway Patrol, they showed up. SLED was here within minutes. The FBI even came and provided whatever assistance they could. Our solicitor's office, since the moment this happened, we've been engaged with our solicitor's office to make sure that we're making the appropriate charges. A lot of people who don't get recognition is our dispatchers. As you can imagine, when those messages started going out to our community, people were calling 911 wanting to know what's going on. And so they were inundated with hundreds of calls. And so I'm really proud of them, and I want to thank them. I want to thank the Chester Police Department, who also, this is outside their jurisdiction, but they sent personnel here, and they were actually engaged in the assisting us to secure that guy. This worked out again because of working relationships that we've had with the school district. That was a relationship that I was determined to build when I became sheriff, and that has happened. And we've had a lot of difficult situations involved in schools, and we have been able to resolve those situations because of the working professional relationship we have. And I want to thank Ms. Tammy Snipes for that. Although she's been on the job for 31 days, she has handled it like a champ. And so I could not ask for a better partner in this regard. I want to thank the teachers and the administration there at the school. Y'all, they went through a tough time today, and you know, we talk about how we're a first responder, and we are, but they were there before we were, and they were actively engaged in protecting their children, and so I could not be more proud of them, those principals and the assistant principals. Ms. Snipes called members of the district office to come down and help with this. So I really want to thank all of those teachers and administrators because they are heroes today. I want to thank all the deputies. We had an all-call, so pretty much most of the people that are employed with the Chester Sheriff's Office and you're a commissioned law enforcement officer, you got called out there today, even though you may have to work tonight. They came out, and they came out because they wanted to be a part of keeping this place safe. And certainly, last but not least, I want to personally thank these SROs who are standing up here. And I don't throw that word out, hero, flippantly. They are heroes. And as this investigation moves forward and details are revealed, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll understand that. But I don't want to just limit it to these people, these men and women, because we have an SRO in every school in Chester County. And just as these individuals ran to the threat, these men and women at these other schools, they do the same thing every day. And so I'm incredibly proud of them, and I appreciate what they do. A bad thing happened today, but a child is safe. Although with some injuries, the child is safe, teachers are safe, and the systems that were in place, the protocols that are in place, they work today, and that's why everybody is safe. And so I'll be glad to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Sheriff. What can you say about the motive here? Can you say anything about whether this was domestic, was mental health an issue here, drugs? What may have motivated this?
I don't want to comment. I think it'd just be too premature right now. There was a domestic element to this initially, and then it expanded. But I can't definitively tell you what the motive was.
Did the suspect involved know the child that he grabbed?
No. The suspect did not know the child and did not know anyone in that classroom.
What's the age of the suspect? That's one thing that's press release said.
Born in 2004, but we'll get you that.
Okay. And as far as, may I ask you a question? As far as this classroom is concerned, was this just a normal classroom?
Yes,
Was it third graders, fourth graders? I don't know anything about the school, but what kind of class was going on when the window was broken in?
It was a normal pre-K classroom.
It was a pre-K classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. And obviously this just happened, you know, and I'm sure there's lots of conversations that take place after this, but initially, will there, at this point, do you anticipate that there will be any safety changes? This is like learning in real time, right? You know, what could possibly happen? Do you anticipate there being any safety changes that just kind of come to you right away?
As with any situation, we always debrief. As Sheriff Dorsey has talked about, we are trained. We go through protocols with our staff. They responded as heroes that they are today. These SROs responded as the heroes they are. And so with our debriefing, with everything, you always look at new modern techniques. But right now, I'm just so proud of my teachers, of my paraprofessionals, of my students, of the community that has come forward. And I honestly couldn't have changed anything that they did. I'm just really, really proud of them today. I'm proud of the cooperation with the Sheriff's Department, how quickly all of the departments responded to this today. And so, to answer your question, will we debrief? Yes. Will we always debrief? Yes. But at this point, I don't know of anything we could have changed to have prevented this at this moment.
Yeah.
Tammy, was this arts? Was this Colt, or was this inquired?
Arts.
It was arts.
Can you, I'm sorry, you,
Okay.
whomever.
Was there any kind of note, you guys said that the suspect, is it a man or a woman?
Man.
Man. That the man, like, banged his head into the window, was there any kind of, like, different kind of window pane that that the school has, or anything, just regular glass?
It's the normal school windows.
And you can imagine, this is a double pane,
Yeah.
school building window, so it's not like something we'd have in our house. We are all surprised at how he was able to use his head to bust that window.
As far as the children are concerned, obviously this is a normal week, right? In
Yes,
terms
it's a
of,
normal week.
And next week will be as well. Do you plan on having any sort of counselors or anyone like that on?
As we
for
always
students?
do in a crisis situation, or in the event of anything that happens, we always make available counseling services to not only our students but also to our staff. And we are already activating those things.
How are the teachers doing that were in the altercation with the suspect? I know you guys said that y'all kind of prepare for this, but it's hard to believe that this is something that you can kind of prepare for. Somebody coming through the window of a school. How are the teachers that had to fight off this suspect doing right now?
They are exactly as you expect. Their number one concern are the children in that building. And although we spoke to them, their concern was to get back to their children and help to get those children safely into the arms of their parents. And so they kept doing their job today.
You went from lockdown to a dismissal. Tell me, explain the process, how you got to that state.
Sheriff Dorsey and I communicated as to what we needed to do at that point, because of course, it was still a crime scene. But what we wanted to do was to allow our parents to reunify with their children as soon as possible, out of just the concern they do have as parents. And so we organized the building. We have practiced reunification off-site very recently, but we knew we could do that on-site, so we made a plan. The district office staff, I'm so proud of them. They activated, went down there to assist with our teachers. There are 3 schools in that building, and so those 3 schools with those principals, all those teachers worked together, and they had a plan to put our car riders into one area, our bus riders, of course, onto their buses, and it was a well-oiled machine. I could not be more proud as to how they did that.
I don't recall if you've ever dealt with this at a principal level, but this is the first time as a superintendent level. What was going through your mind this morning?
We knew that safety of our children is the first thing going through our mind. I knew that I needed to be in constant communication with Sheriff Dorsey. Of course, we were both on scene, meeting with our faculty that were involved, meeting with law enforcement that were involved, and just ensuring that the building was secure and that we could dismiss our children and get them safely back to their parents.
There's been a little bit of discussion on social media, as there always is, about how much information the school district was putting out about this, that parents were freaking out because they didn't know what was going on. Explain why the district wasn't able to tell pretty much everything, and I don't know if that might be a law enforcement question also, but why the district wasn't able to tell everything in those phone messages that were sent out.
Yeah, so I want Chester to know that when things like this happen, very regularly our PIOs get together. They're either talking on the phone or they're standing beside one another. And me and the superintendent do the same thing. We treat this as a crime scene though. So this is a criminal investigation, and the most important thing is to maintain the integrity of the evidence and that information. The other side of that coin is we want to make sure we're putting out accurate information. We feel like we've worked really hard to build trust in this community, and the last thing we want to do is put out some inaccurate information that's going to cause that trust to be broken. And so I would rather be limited in what we put out to ensure accuracy than to put out a bunch of information that we're not as confident about. And what Ms. Snipes said, it reminded me, I want to thank Chester. I want to thank the parents. I want to thank this community, because I recognize when you get an alert like that something's happening at your kid's school, that you want to do one thing: you want to hold your child. And I get that. And so I really appreciate the parents out there recognizing that we are doing all that we can to keep your child safe, and we want to get them back to you as quickly as possible. And so I'm just very proud that Our community trusted us to go through that process, and they responded appropriately when we asked them to show up to pick up their child.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming. Happy Halloween.